What's up, you guys? This is your boy, That Black Only, coming to you guys today with Google Stadia. Let's talk about it. Alright, so if you clicked on this channel, you should know what's going on for this particular topic on this episode. So, we all have heard about Google Stadia and the games that will be coming out on Google Stadia. One of the things that we know off back is Google Stadia will actually be using the Ultra Chrome, or the Google Ultra Chrome is what it'll be using, if you guys can see right there. And this is supposed to give you up to 4K on televisions that can accept 4K, and it gives you supposed to give you high definition quality and stuff like that. And you get a controller. That's how this is supposed to work. You get a controller and you also get a Google Chromecast with this. How much is this price? Well, look at this. This price is starting off at $129, and that's for the Stadia Founders Edition. All right, now we all understand that this is kind of like a cheap console. It's gonna have games that you can play if you get this Founders Edition. You get free games. I guess it's just supposed to be like PlayStation Plus. You get 3 months starting off. You get a name, a Google Stadia name, just letting everybody know that, hey, I was here first type thing. You get I think a Founders Badge is what they call it. Just also stating your status of you were here first with pre-orders and stuff like that. But then comes the issue. Since this is just a stream game service, the huge issue is your internet worthy of it? Now, in some places, they get up to 5 gigabytes. Other places, 2 gigabytes. And in my situation, a couple few MBs, megabytes per second. And what I'm finna show you guys is one of the things that they said, no matter what your standards is, this is the type of quality you will be able to run. So we go over to Google Stadia, and we see right off the bat, if you have 30 MBs, 35 MBs, you're able to run 4K quality. 30 MBs, 30K quality. 25, roughly in that area between 1080p and I guess that'd be 1K quality. I'm not sure how that works. And also, if you drop to 20, you get 1080p. 15 will give you 15 will give you between 1080 to 720p, and 10 MPs to 5 MBs, megabytes per second, will give you 720p is what it'll give you. Now, it's hard for me to believe that with 5 MBs or 5 megabytes per second, I'm still going to be able to actually play this at 720p and keep up with the speed run that they're saying that I'm going to have. So I took it to the full test. I tried out my connection test with it, and what I ended up with not only shocked me, but it was also quite embarrassing. What I ended up with was 20 megabytes per second. All right, I'm not rounding that up. That is 20 megabytes per second. It's like I won't be able to, I guess, run the 4K quality, but I still would get the standard high definition, like pretty much 1080p at this point, and which is not bad. You know, when it really comes down to it, it's really not bad. But my thing is, internet tends to fluctuate. Different days gives you different types of ways of internet. Sundays may not be good for me. Fridays may not be good for me. Hell, Mondays might not even be good for me. So what promises my quality of my gameplay is going to stay at the exact same level? Now, mind you, we don't even have 1 gigabyte yet of megabytes per second rolling in. We don't have that yet out here. We don't have the point that a lot of issues that are starting up with data caps. All right. A lot of people who were planning on getting this and really didn't think about that. For instance, Xfinity. In certain areas, you can only get 300 gigabytes of memory. Now, mind you, you're streaming a high-end game. If you're able to get what they call the 4K standard definition, you got a 4K TV, and that shit is constantly running, you will not have long until all of your data has been eaten up. And then you're not able to play for a few days or weeks, depending on what else you use your internet for. If you're streaming videos plus playing games like this, then you will have a huge issue. Now, my thing is, for people out there who have unlimited data and can play and stuff like this, this may be a thing for you. But for a majority of people out here who are in the South and in certain other areas that do not have this type of internet, these type of luxuries of internet, this is going to be a problem. Now, this is going to be a problem for so many reasons, basically because my quality of my gameplays and gaming in general will not be the exact same way as somebody else who has 1 gigabyte and is unlimited of, constant stream data. That's how some people are able to stream flawlessly, and how other people are able to stream but have little hiccups. Now, mind you, I played a game recently, last week. Shaq Fu played great that Saturday night, but when it got to Sunday, there was a whole bunch of stutters and hiccups into the game that I also had issues with, as you guys see, and that tends to be a problem. That's a lot of reasons why I don't tend to stream as much. And what's promising me if my data or the megabytes per second drops due to, I don't know, me checking also the video on maybe my caster or maybe on my internet of me live streaming. Those are issues that a lot of us do not think about. And I think that's one of the things that we really have to pay attention to if we want to make, this better. One thing, we have to get better, there have to be better options for internet where we are. Now, AT&T and other places like CenturyLink are out here vast in this area, and they're kind of locked into this area. A lot of people don't understand that when you actually have companies like these companies are synced in, meaning that other internet companies and providers cannot come out here and actually straight up, if you will, go in and actually set base. Now, mind you, Google actually talked about this a while back, that they were going to come down towards the south and plant all of these fiber optic cables, and it just takes one hell no for that to happen, and that pretty much is what happened. And those are huge issues when you really think about it. Another thing with connection speeds are sometimes they're not equal. Like I said before, looking back at my live stream and seeing what was going on, I noticed the huge change between one day going into the next. Huge stutters, huge hiccups. Half the time, if I was actually trying to play this game off of streaming itself, I would be in deep trouble. I would have issues with my game constantly, like literally lagging in certain areas, and which is a naughty word for some people, but lagging is one thing that definitely happens if you're trying to live stream or streaming in general between a whole bunch of other things that are set up in between that. So it's one of those things I kind of have to think about. Yeah, mind you, I might be able to play the games and all this stuff and do everything else I need to do, but there's still so many other options out there with what they're doing. Like physical is one of those things that ensures me that I'm going to have proper gameplay no matter what, basically, because the reason why it's going to ensure me that I have proper gameplay is if that game is fully on the disc and I don't have to worry about constant updates unless they're needed, in which the minimum internet that I have can actually take care of that problem. But in certain situations, if I'm playing something like that's online and I get booted out, like Mortal Kombat, for instance, like yeah, that's also one of the games that's also coming to the Stadia. But for games that aren't like really connected and I can still have that game to game experience, that's what I'm investing in more, compared to not knowing where this is going to go on down the road, and most likely it's going to end up being an issue way bigger than what it should. That's a whole bunch of shit that you don't really want to get into, or you don't even want to dive into. And I don't want to be up to my neck with it. Like, there's a lot of articles out there, in which I'll leave a few down below that you guys can check out, of just bad gaming practices that I think is not good. I really do hope that it succeeds, but it kind of reminds me of a gaming company, if you guys didn't know, called Ouya. And it was a small little box that you pretty much plugged up to your TV, and you plugged another one into an Ethernet port, and you created games, you played games. The idea is similar to that, and it was just really a huge game base that was for people who wanted to create games. And that's one thing with that fan base that was actually really nice and set up for what it was doing. But the thing was, it didn't have a lot of people who followed behind it and supported it, therefore it failed. And I think the main reason why is because it was really mostly used as a ROM player than anything else. And that's one of the things that you kind of have to understand. When a lot of people don't really know much about it and what it can do, they're not going to invest money into something that they think is going to do what it's supposed to. It's supposed to do one thing but end up doing another. A lot of Android and mobile games actually came over to this thing, but you could tell they were made for it due to issues with lagging and trying to keep up with the connection. And when the connection dropped to just a few 5 MBs, it was just a whole world of ugliness, and it did not work out for them. And the same thing could happen to Stadia. Stadia is hyping themselves up to a really high point, but there's no promise that this type of thing is going to continue to stay up. I'm hoping that me making this video, I could possibly be wrong, and this could be the next big thing. But for the most part, my main reason why I will not be actually getting a Stadia is just basically because physical copies ensure me that I'm always going to be able to play that game, due to my internet ever goes out, or just I'm talking about, that's like literally my main reason. Just in case the internet goes out, I don't want to have to pay for that type of problem. I shouldn't have to pay for that problem for me investing into a game. And I think that Stadia would be great in places that actually have a huge amount of internet, runs perfectly fast and stuff like that. That's where they should be marketing the Stadia, and not in areas where they know that the Stadia or internet itself, where the Stadia is not going to work. Like I said, and the areas of like where you just have Xfinity and Comcast and AT&T, which I think is the same thing, but AT&T and all of them running at the exact same time, there are so many issues that can come from that. People who have data caps, they're only going to be able to play games for so damn long. People who have shorter and smaller internet, who want to actually get that definition, that's why you invest into a system or maybe a PC. But for people who are constantly connected to this thing, there are so many other issues that can happen. Constant crashes. What if the Stadia servers go down? There's a lot of things that you're going to be locked out of, and instead of wishing that you had the physical copy, or you're not able to do it basically because someone else holds your games in the palm of your hand. Now mind you, it's $10 a month, but you still have to pay for the video games to play them. So that's like one of my things. If you get the Founders Edition, the good benefits that they talk about are it's more like clout to me. It's more like, oh, this is just saying that you have this type of hype, but we're just giving you small discounts for the games that you want. Buy this game at the full price. We give you a small little discount when you get ready to check out, and that's for the Founders Edition. If you don't do the Founders Edition, or you do what they could do, quote unquote free edition, and let's say you already have a Chromecast Ultra, what ends up happening is you still have to buy a controller, and which is $70. For a lot of people who don't know, the controller that's coming out is $70, and it's supposed to connect to your caster. Now, it's a lot of hiccups in the way of that. I guess like if you were streaming a movie or something like that onto your Chromecast already, and let's just say your cat or something walked across the controller by accident, or it falls, or you accidentally sit on it and you're in the middle of this video, and it pops up to the game, well, shit, I guess you're gonna be playing that game. You know, like there's so many different little options between that you kind of have to worry about. And like I said, for some folks, this may not bother you at all. You might have a special place in your heart for this, and there's nothing wrong with that either. This is just for people who need to at least try to consider, if you're in an area that does not have great internet, or you have data caps, you kind of want to pay attention to the data caps that you have, and you kind of want to like make sure that you pay attention to what's going on between your internet. Figure out your speeds, and if you think this will work for you, buy it. Like I said, buy the Founders Edition if you believe to buy it. But to me, with the games and stuff coming out, in which I have a list right here of all the games that are supposed to be coming out to the Stadia, I think that the Stadia will be good for people who don't really care that much, kind of just want to play a game and beat it and talk about it with friends, compared to a person who is collecting games, or is a collector, or likes physical copies and stuff like that. That might be the spot, because everybody's different and there's an audience for everything. And I noticed that of lately. And where somebody sees something bad, somebody else might see something good in. So I'm not tripping out about the Stadia. I'm just saying that the Stadia is one of those things that's not for everyone, and there's a lot of issues with the internet. And I know a lot of people will argue, well, this is where gaming is going digital. But why should it go digital? Why could you not physically own the copy of the game that you're paying almost the near damn exact same amount for? That makes no sense to me. And like, no one can give me a reliable answer, like, because anytime that I go online to Steam or wherever to buy a game, I don't pay full price for it. If I was paying like I would pay for a physical copy, I get a huge discount on it. Mind you, when Resident Evil and all of that came out, I only paid literally like, I think what, $40 for it. That's a $20 discount for the game when it came out. You got to really think about the difference of between what that is and what you're paying for. I wasn't paying for a physical copy for that. I was paying for a digital copy. Digital copies should always be lower than what the physical value of it is. You actually own that game. But when I'm paying for a physical copy of a game and I'm really getting digital content, then that's also another thing that you have an issue with. And what I mean by that is when that game has a server set up for that game, and 10 to 20 years down the line, that game no longer exists, or those servers are no longer relevant to what that game used to be, or even up for that game. Those are issues that you kind of have to think about. And I'm not gonna bring up what game that is, MK, but you have to really think about those type of things, basically, but as a collector, you really have to think that these games are one of those things that have you constantly revolved around it. And if you're falling for gimmicks and stuff like that towards games that this doesn't work for, and my thing is, what happens when Stadia is no longer an actual thing? What happens when the Ultra Chromecast, they go to the next one, the Ultra Chromecast 2, or in that area, or the Chromecast Ultra Deluxe Edition? What happens when they change up and what you have no longer works? Really think about those things. And I hope that you guys have at least been a little educated with this video, and understand where I'm coming from with this. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Drink plenty of water because it's hot as hell out there. And also, just be mindful of what's going on in the tech world. That's all I got to say. This is your boy, That Black On It, signing out in 3, 2, 1. You guys have a good one. Peace.